Good afternoon, and welcome to Sunday Assembly. We'd like to welcome everyone today. Thank you for coming. We'd like to get us started with a little song by a band you may have heard of called Zeppelin. So if you'd like to stand, feel free. And this is called Immigrant song.
Sunday Assembly. This is Sunday Assembly Atlanta. We're a worldwide organization. We're a secular congregation without deity, doctor. We do have doctors, and we support them wholeheartedly, unless they are the witch variety. Otherwise, we have no deity, dogma, or doctrine. So you get to come as you are. Celebrate the way you want to. Enjoy the one life that we all know we have. Regardless of what happens afterwards, because we know you're all good people. So our theme today is out of context. I'm sure we've all been in a spot at some point in our lives where we have interpreted something out of the context in which it was originally put to us, or someone has read that email you wrote and said, "How dare you say that?" And you were just trying to get them to pick the lunch spot because the suggestion last time wasn't great. Context changes everything. Just like the sentence, "Let's eat grandma." If you didn't know there was a comma between eat and grandma, then instead of an invitation to grandma to get her nourishment so she can be alive, you'd think it's a zombie apocalypse and we're making hard decisions now. So, context is something we'll be addressing in everything we do today, because it's relevant to who we are as people, to the relationships we have, to the networks that we build, why we do the things that we do. Speaking of context, I'd like to start us off with someone who I'm happy to have here with us. A man who is the regional director of StoryCorps. How many of you have heard of StoryCorps? Okay, good, more than half. For those who haven't, you now have. So how many of you have heard of StoryCorps? Okay, we at least got a 95% return on that. I'm sure Mr. Garcia will tell you more about StoryCorps as well as about context in general. So I'd like to invite Daniel Horowitz Garcia up to the stage.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Daniel Horowitz Garcia. It's 3 names. I'm Puerto Rican. It's a small country. Poor names are cheap. So you get a lot of them. So this talk had worked. Oh my god. All right, so this talk is going to be about high school wrestling and hot dogs and civil rights. Okay? So this will all tie together, but I need you to trust me. Bubbles might be bursting and your sensibilities might be disrupted, but worse than all of that, graduate school language will be used. Right? I know. And you may not choose it. But in my defense, you tried to make me dance. So you deserve this. All right, if you stay, you've been warned. I am not responsible for what happens after this point. So my name is Daniel Horowitz Garcia. I am the alternative historian. In my day job, I'm regional manager at StoryCorps in Atlanta, although I'm giving this talk outside of my day job, which means I can't build them for the time. Wow. So in my spare time, as the alternative historians, I do a couple of things. I do freelance work with some individuals, with organizations, and I produce 2 podcasts, and yes, I am exhausted. So my background is for 20 years I worked as an organizer throughout the South. I went back to school. I was an 18-year-old college freshman and a 37-year-old college sophomore. So that semester off, pretty intense, but it was awesome. Sometimes. So I went back to school. I got I finished my bachelor's and my master's at Georgia State in history. Go Panthers. My focus is late 20th century U.S. South with an emphasis on race, gender, and social movement. So I'm a historian by inclination and training now, and I'm going to talk to you today about history and what that means, and what we do, about how we do history, whether we have training in the discipline or we don't. Also, I live in the 6th Congressional District and the 32nd State Senate District, so for me, the 2016 election is not over. I am exhausted. So because of that, mostly because of my background, really, I'm going to pull a historical example from something to do with elections. Right? So just way to civil rights stuff. Can anyone tell me who this woman is?
She's a black woman.
See, if we were in class, no credit. Okay, this is Fannie Lou Hamer. She was an activist in Mississippi and a central figure in U.S. history, although little known outside of folks who study social movements. Right? She attempted to register to vote in 1962. At the time, she had been sharecropping for 18 years, and the day that she tried to register to vote, she was kicked off her farm. Her and her husband, her family was kicked off. She was kicked off that plantation, but she kept on trying to vote. Fannie Lou Hamer was assaulted multiple times, sometimes by police, sometimes in jail. It took a toll on her life. You can see she died at 60 years old. Her life was cut short because of the brutality she faced doing this work. In 1964, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, also known as SNCC, anybody here know SNCC? Atlanta. Somebody knows SNCC, right? So they launched Freedom Summer. Might have heard of this? Right. The project was aimed at registering African Americans in Mississippi. So one part of this strategy was challenging the Democratic Party at the National Convention, which was held that year in New Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey. And it was charging that the Mississippi delegation of the Democratic Party should not be seated because they did not really represent Mississippi because of segregation. And in fact, they formed their own party, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, and demanded that that delegation be seated instead. Ms. Hamer was part of this struggle. She was a leader in this fight. And she played a very prominent role in that, the events in 1964 in New Jersey. Here's a clip from an American Experience documentary that shows that. I need somebody's help to turn on this. Thank you. There should be audio.
Committee, the FDP had a lineup of very different people. They had Rita Schwerner, the widow of Mickey, who had been killed in Neshoba County. They had Martin Luther King. Everybody knew King.
The seating of the delegation from the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party has political and moral significance far beyond the borders of Mississippi, of all the distant vineyard.
But the highlight of the testimony was that of Fannie Lou Hamer, the sharecropper who had been evicted from her plantation, had come to symbolize the Mississippi movement.
Mr. Chairman, and to the Credentials Committee, it was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. We were met in Indianola by policemen.
The president, Lyndon Johnson, he's not afraid of Martin Luther King's testimony. He's afraid of Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony. And so he decides that the country should not see her testifying live.
Johnson is in the White House, and he convened an impromptu press conference.
We will return to this scene of Atlantic City, but now we switch to the White House and NBC's Robert Horowitz.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
On this day, 9 months ago,
He did it knowing that they would break away, thinking he might announce who his choice of vice president was going to be. Instead, he gets up there and he announces, get this, he announces that it's 9 months to the day since Governor Connolly, who was there, was shot along with President Kennedy. So he announced a 9-month anniversary. Everybody's scratching their head.
thank you very much.
And then he leaves. And by that time, Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony was over. However, it backfired on Johnson because it became a story that she had been taken off television and in the news that night, and for days afterwards, they replayed her testimony.
I was carried to the county jail and put in the booking room. They left all the people in the booking room and began to play something sad.
She had Mississippi in her bones. Martin Luther King or the Smithfield secretaries, they couldn't do what Fannie Lou Hamer did. They couldn't be a sharecropper and express what it meant, right? And that's what Fannie Lou Hamer did.
And it wasn't too long before 3 white men came to my cell. One of these men was a state highway patrol. He said, we're going to make you wish you was dead.
So I bring up Ms. Hamer for a few reasons, not the least of which everybody who lives in this country owes her a debt of gratitude. If you believe you have even a little bit of freedom, you owe thanks to Fannie Lou Hamer and countless other women in Mississippi. More immediately though, I'm bringing her up to talk about context. So I'm going to ask you a question. How many people believe that Fannie Lou Hamer was part of the voting rights movement? Please raise your hand. That seems no-brainer. Now, how many believe she was part of the civil rights movement? Please raise your hand. Okay, so a couple people double dipping, no problem, and they say you couldn't. All right, so if you listen to Fannie Lou Hamer's speeches, especially those from the 1960s, you will most likely not hear her say she was part of the Civil Rights Movement. And you won't hear her say she's part of the Voting Rights Movement. What you're most likely going to hear her say is that she's part of the Freedom Movement. So where should we place Ms. Hamer? How do we make sense of her work now? How do we recognize her legacy, this woman who's such an important part of U.S. history? What's her political context? So my hope is that by the end of this talk, you're going to recognize how deeply complicated yet important these questions are. So my talk tonight is about context, specifically historical context. And I'll be defining what I mean by that as well as struggling with how it's useful. And I'll be returning to Ms. Hamer in a minute. But for now, let's explore this concept with something that has less emotional charge, at least for you. It's possible to say that I was an athlete in high school. Specifically, I was on a wrestling team. I was on a wrestling team for 2 years. I wrestled junior varsity between the 154-pound and 169-pound weight classes. Now, those are facts. Those are things that happened, and it's the past, and it can't be changed. What kind of wrestler was I? Well, that's a different question. My second year as a wrestler, I was 4-9. That means, for folks who never were in sports, I was in 13 matches, and I lost 9 of them. Of the 4 I won, 1 was because the other guy didn't show up. Again, these are facts. Okay? So if you look at these facts and say, obviously I wasn't a good wrestler, that's an interpretation. Right? You are engaged in the historical process by making an argument based on this evidence. And it's also a pretty good argument. But evidence of numbers is not the only evidence to consider. Right? Yes, I lost more matches than I won by more than double. But to say I wasn't a good wrestler is also to say that winning matches is a central standard by measuring how good a wrestler is. It's the standard by which all athletic achievement should be measured, how much you won. Should it? And for whom? If we're talking about how to know who the champion is, then yeah, you use numbers. Champions win more than people who are not champions. Makes sense. But I never said I became a wrestler because I wanted to be a champion. And I haven't said I wanted to be a good wrestler. I haven't said anything about why I became a wrestler at all. I just told you I was a wrestler. I see you looking. That's not nice. We'll talk about it. So where's the context? There is context, but you haven't heard it from me. Fact is, I became a wrestler because I was a fat, uncoordinated kid who wanted to lose weight and learn how to beat the crap out of people. Right? I succeeded widely on both counts. In 8th grade, I was 190 pounds. By the end of 10th grade, I was 155 pounds. I was strong, I was much more coordinated, and the most important thing to me, anyway, is that I had a jacket that said wrestling team on it, and when I walked down the school hallways, people got out of my way. As far as I was concerned, I was a god. Right? So what do we make of my wrestling career now? Can we argue that it was a success? Well, yeah, we could, but in history you can argue anything. But you can argue anything. Right? And in fact, historians do argue everything. That's why so many lawyers have undergraduate degrees in this. I just told you why I became a wrestler, but that was late 40s me. Today I can say openly I didn't care about being a champion. I just wanted to be strong, and I wanted to be perceived as strong, and I wanted to be on a team, and I just wanted people to leave me alone. But did I? That's what I said. I fully believe that if you interviewed my 14-year-old son about being a wrestler, that boy would have said he wanted to be awesome, that he wanted a college scholarship. At least that's what he told me. If the criteria for judging athleticism then is awesomeness, then my wrestling career was a miserable failure. I didn't get into college on a wrestling scholarship. I didn't even get a date on a wrestling scholarship. I got a jacket. So now we have these sets of facts, right? The past is all laid out. You have 3 different interpretations of those facts, 2 of which are kind of similar. So what's the truth? How do we look at this and feel better? Where's the hope? I'm a historian. I don't do it. Sorry. Right, as I said, the past doesn't change. History changes all the time, but the past doesn't change. History changes because history is an interpretation of the past. It's a story we tell about ourselves. The story is an argument, and the argument changes on what we need, and what time we are making it in, and who's making it. We make arguments all the time. We make them individually, we make them to other people, we make them to ourselves. I had an argument about why I joined the wrestling team, I had an argument about why I stayed on the wrestling team, and I had an argument why I quit the wrestling team. I had that argument for myself, for my parents, for my coach, for my classmates. I had all kinds of arguments. Right? And I put that argument into a larger narrative about my life. I was going to get a scholarship. And about my community. They were going to leave me alone, or I was going to keep the rest. In short, I put my life in context to figure out what I was doing. And that context changed. More than 30 years later, I don't emphasize a scholarship. I talk about young men's capacity for violence. So the narratives we tell, and I mean we as a society here, are constantly being pushed, and they're being prodded, and supported, and then undermined, and historians are not in control of this at all. And that's sad, but it's true. But the job of a historian, or anyone who's doing historical work, is to think historically about it. Fact is, sometimes we fight things that are a lot more important than politics. Thank you all very much.
Daniel, thank you for your talk. That was, I really enjoyed learning about Miss Hamer. I had no idea that she even existed until your talk. So, you know, it's, a lot of times we talk about the big names, but it's just like in a concert or like a movie, for instance. Has anyone done any extra work before on a movie? Yeah, excellent. So I've done it a few times, and what's interesting, if for nothing else, because it's not the pay, people don't do extra work for the pay. Unless you like making less than minimum wage, then it's right for you. I have contacts I can get you in touch with. What's interesting is to find out what happens behind the scenes and how much work goes into 5 seconds of video. It could be 3 hours of work, and it could be at 2 in the morning, like I did it, when we've already been doing this other scene, and then they say, you know what, those really weren't the best shots, we actually want it over here. And everyone has to reposition and readjust, all 50 of the crew, plus the extras, plus the assistants, all of that together creates that one shot. And just imagining that in the larger context of a 90-minute movie, and imagining her work in a larger context of decades and decades of work, and how it's gotten us here, and all the little parts that made that happen, I think it's pretty fascinating. So thank you for bringing that up. For a moment of reflection and of considering the context of ourselves in our current state, I'd like to bring up Kevin King to take us through a moment of mindfulness. Kevin? Yes, please clap.
Depends on the context, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to guide us through a brief meditation and then have a minute of silence. So just relax and sit in your chairs. Sit and know that you're sitting. Perhaps you feel, just gently close your eyes. Feel the weight of gravity as it pulls you down into the seat. And maybe check in with your body really briefly and release any tension that you may be feeling in your neck or your back. And then gradually become aware and attend to the mere sensations of breathing. There's no need to control it. Just let it happen naturally and pay attention to what it feels like. As the breath comes in and goes out. Wherever it feels most natural to you. If at any time you find that your mind is wandering, that's the practice. Just notice it. And once again, attend to your breath. Okay. That was a minute. Last month we had a gong, so maybe we ought to try that again. So we have 2 mindful meditation groups. They're both on meetup.com, so you can look them up at any time. We're just a group of regular folks who get together and meditate together. Mindfulness is nothing, there's nothing, you don't have to subscribe to any kind of a dogma or doctrine to meditate. Science has shown that it has benefits to your brain no matter what your belief system may be. So don't feel like you have to subscribe to anything if you want to come and join us. And we just sit around and we meditate and we talk about it and support each other and answer questions and talk about struggles that we may have. So it's a really good group of people. The group on Wednesday, we meet in houses around generally the CAD, Northeast Tucker area. And our Saturday group meets at a Unitarian Universalist church in Roswell. So we encourage you to come and join us if you're curious. And after the potluck, if you want to talk to me about what this meditation business is about, I'm more than happy to talk to you your off about it. So thank you very much.
Meditation is something I didn't pick up until probably 2 years ago. And then I dropped it, as any great starting meditator does. They do it for a little while and they're like, I'm too busy for 5 minutes. I don't have 5 minutes to spare. You kidding me? But like a muscle, it gets stronger every time you do it. I do have a podcast recommendation for those who enjoy podcasts. Looking at you, Mr. Garcia. It's called the Reboot Podcast. And I don't get anything from this except the enjoyment that you get from listening to it. Anyway, the guy is an executive coach, and he frequently talks about meditation and how a 20-minute session of meditation, within that, if you're distracted by work and your family and all these other things, your mind keeps going to, you keep coming back, going to and coming back for 19 and a half minutes of your 20-minute meditation. But that last 30 seconds, you get that moment of clarity, that stillness of silence in your brain. You've just had a successful meditation. And that moment will get bigger and bigger every time you do it. And it really does change your brain from a neurological perspective, as well as from a poetic perspective. You enjoy life a little bit more. At least that's my opinion. It's not a scientific backed opinion, but I support my own opinion. I'd like to hear from someone for our reading, Anna Varensky, who probably has an equally, if not more, scientifically backed opinion, as well as her wonderful voice to read some of our reading today. So Anna, would you like to come up?
Do we have the band? Okay, this is a Shakespeare sonnet. It's sonnet 123. No, time, thou shalt not boast that I do change. The pyramids built up with newer might, to me are nothing novel, nothing strange. They are but dressings of a former sight. Our days are brief, and therefore we admire what thou dost foist upon us that is old, and rather make them born to our desire than think that we before them have heard them told. Thy register and thee I both defy, not wondering at the present or the past. For thy records and what we doth see lie, made more or less by thy continual haste. This I do vow, and this shall ever be, I will be true, despite thy scythe and thee.
Love that. I'm a big fan of Bill Shakespeare myself, but if you're not down with the Bard of Avon, we have a song by the Barenaked Ladies that says the exact same thing.
So if you're willing and able to stand, if you'd like to participate, please. He's not just lurking up here. He has a reason to be here. So I'd like us It's all been done before, but I'm doing my best, but Jared has not. So I would like to welcome Jared 5 feet across the stage to do it for us. Let's give him a hand.
Hi guys, my name is Jared Miette. Been coming to the assembly since October last year. And it's now May. Summer's heating up. Y'all ready for summer? Yeah, I hear you all. Let me explain why. I'm a librarian. I'm not a school librarian. I'm not a highfalutin academic librarian. I am a public librarian. And for public librarians, the last day of school is Black Friday. And for us, the months of June and July are the equivalent of November and December for retail. This is the day when we will have 150 kids come in to see a puppet show or a magician or whatever, all at the same time, all get hyped up and all come run around the building. But we can't complain because we asked for it. I have a children's librarian on staff, and right now she's going to every elementary and middle school in our area, telling the kids, come to the library. Because there's a thing called summer learning loss, and it's real. If you are teachers, you know you spend the first 6 to 8 weeks of the new school year having kids relearn everything they forgot from the previous year, and research has shown that if the kids just read 4 or 5 books over the summer, that helps negate a big chunk of that loss. The thing about librarians is, while the teachers are kind of like the substitute parents of the education world, we're the cool aunt and uncle who lets you get away with stuff. My motto as a librarian has always been, I don't care what you read, I only care that you read. And as librarians, we go to conferences and we hear all these pep talks from like authors and singers, from meeting Madeline Merchant, Karen Slaughter, Neil Gaiman, have all given these big talks that I listened to about how important their libraries were when they were child growing up, and how the librarians meant so much, and how it helped them get through life and be who they are today. And it's really inspiring. You think, wow, this is a great profession, it's a great calling. But that's not how the song was made, if I can steal it. My first day as an intern, my first day actually working in a library, the first thing I learned was what happens to urinal cake when someone scoops it out and throws it on the floor. It goes flat and it's a mess to clean up. I'd like to think that wasn't a harbinger for the rest of my career, but even today we still have problems with people deliberately clogging our toilets with entire rolls of toilet paper, with the cardboard rolls of them to shove down in there. That's what I do as a librarian. You think I recommend books to people, I point people to more learning. No, I deal with HVAC breakdowns, which will become more numerous as the summer increases. In fact, I was talking cool, whether it's within the children's department or the meeting room where everyone gathers, where the HVAC goes out first this summer. I get to deal with the adults as well as the kids. The adults get sometimes worse because they pretty much think they own the library. They push it around. They tell us what the policies are, because that's what it used to be, and that's what it always was. And so we get called on to calm people down. Okay, we have this fine here. Maybe we can waive it. This book was due like 3 years ago, but we're happy just to take half the fee if you're willing to pay that much. So it's customer service. Like you've worked customer service anywhere, it's the same deal. People are angry. You have to deal with their emotions and their problems, their baggage they bring in. To make things extra fun for the employees of the DeKalb County Public Library System, this very week we are migrating from an old automation catalog system to a brand new one that we do not know whether or not the data is going to transfer correctly. We don't know if our books will still be in the new catalog when it comes up next week. We don't know if our patrons will be in the new catalog when it comes up next week. We're just hoping for the best. This week, we cannot check any books in, we cannot place anything on hold, we cannot do anything anybody wants for us except check out library books if they remember to bring their card, and only if. But this isn't just about libraries in general, it's about me. I'm doing my best, it's about your personal struggle, so makes things particularly challenging for me is I'm not just a librarian, I'm the manager. I feel called to be a librarian. It's something that gives me identity, that gives me pride. I do not and have never been called to be the boss, and to manage people, and to write performance appraisals, or to deal with employee issues, or to be the first and last line of defense on the maintenance thing. Swear to whoever you want to swear to. There's a management class you take in library school. I took the textbook home. I read the first chapter. It made me physically ill. I came out here to Atlanta and it's like, okay, I can break it. I can find something I really want to do. I applied. I interviewed all these jobs where I would not have been the manager. They will not hire me to do anything else. And I'm the manager of the Dunwoody Library, which, if you're familiar with the geography of DeKalb County, if DeKalb County is Westeros, Dunwoody is Castle Black. We are one of the busiest branches in the system while we're fighting off the hordes of zombies from Gwinnett County who keep trying to come in and use our resources as well. But also being way up there on the north end, we kind of feel a little bit ignored, and I have to constantly, try and get administration to get, we need help up here too. It's not just Decatur and all that. But also means as the boss, I have to deal with every problem that escalates beyond the level of what the person at the desk can deal with. It comes up to me, and I get to deal with all of that. I get to. Like I said, maintenance the people, the angry, the screaming kids, the woman who thinks that, she's being charged incorrectly, and it all escalates up to me, and I'm where the buck has to stop. And that's not something I've ever been called, something particularly fun to do. And the hardest thing about being a manager, though, is it's really isolating. We have a team. I have a team of staff members. I have some really good people. I have some people who work there. You don't really get to have colleagues. You get to be friendly with people, but at the end of the day, you're the one who gets to write a performance evaluation, and no one ever quite forgets that. So yeah, my colleagues will be the other branch managers who I don't ever actually get to interact with. So it's lonely to be amongst, and that's a struggle, But all librarians, all of us have their struggles they deal with. They have their particular problems and crisis after crisis, and it's going to escalate over the summer. So I would like to ask you a favor, if y'all wouldn't mind. I would like to ask you, take some day this summer, go into the library, find a librarian who looks like they're taking a breath in between crises, in between the hordes of, my children's librarian always scolds me when I use this term, the hordes of a screaming hellspawn. Just find a librarian. Just go up to them and smile and ask them what they're reading. Ask for a book recommendation. Say, hey, I've read this author and stuff. Who do you think I should read next? What would I enjoy? What's interesting? Let the librarian be a librarian for a moment. If you'll do that for me, then I'll keep doing my best. Thank you.
The Dunwoody Library used to be my home library. That place was fantastic. And now I know who to thank for it.
And now
So thank
Jared's
you.
ruined it.
Thank you for doing all that you do to make sure that library gets what it needs, so that patrons like me are able to find the book that I've been looking for. Oh, and those dollar books at the library that you can buy for $1 or $2, go to the library. You'll get the best cheap books. The ones you want on Amazon that you're like, I'm not going to spend $25 on a hardback. Go there and get it for $1 because somebody read it once and that's all they wanted it for. Let's all go ahead, if you're willing and able, to stand up. Now it's time for our icebreaker. So, context we talked about is very important. And one thing about context that's interesting is we all tend to have some physical object in our lives in some way. It could be a picture, could be a trinket, could be a necklace, could be something that at first glance just looks like something else that I would buy in a shop, or something I would find at a flea market, or something that would be in the basement. But there's a story behind it for you, and mostly only for you. That's the story that makes that object important. And so I'd like for us to break into groups of 3 or 4. I'll let you police that breaking out process. And within that group, let's have maybe 1 or 2 people, if they brought an object, or they have one in their purse, or their pocket, or what have you, or can think of an object, something in their life that's significant, that Could be from family or friends, or remind you of a trip that you went on that was really great for you. And just to tell the group what that object is and why it's so important to you. We're going to do this for probably about 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll come back here and wrangle us back together once we're complete. All right, sound good? Important about Sunday Assembly, of course, in the grand scheme of context, is not just you being here tonight, but the fact that you're enabling this space every time you come here. Every time you decide to give with your time or your money, or a handshake to a new person, or a smile to someone across the room that you haven't seen for 6 months. All of that counts. This is our time when we ask you to, if you're willing and able, to offer anything from 50 cents to one of those giant Publishers Clearinghouse checks. If you have one in your trunk, I will gladly accept it. That not only enables us to keep the lights on, which is really you doing that, you're also enabling this actual space. You're making sure that this equipment works so that people in the back or who are in the front who may not be able to hear can still get the message. You're helping a person in high school whose parents may not accept that they aren't Christian or aren't of a traditional religion and is looking to find people who think the way that they think. Or the person midway through their lives who finds that their entire community is wrapped up with the church and is worried about missing everything with their family and friends by going it alone. You keeping the space open allows them to find us and to find you and to make a place for themselves. So while we pass around some collection baskets, we're going to have our band back up here to play us a little song. So band,
On the road again.
We've got several songs in this assembly about, and some of them are about historical things, some of them are about just being on the road, which I like a lot because it means so many different things to different people, and it's that's where so many stories begin. And everyone has a different experience of road trips or something like that. So that's what this one's trying to say. One, two, three, four. On the road again, just can't wait to get on the road again. My love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again, going to places that I've never been.
Let's give another hand to our band. I really enjoy how the assemblies have changed as we finally have had some new music. New people playing all kinds of instruments and it being live is so much different than watching something that's just on a screen. Some of you folks who've been here a while remember the lyric slides on YouTube. Well, we will never go back. But we will never forget. So for sharing with the community and understanding context, we always allow a segment called Life Happens, or rather allow is not the right choice of words. We give you the freedom to share with the community, anonymously or otherwise, anything you'd like, positive, negative, neutral, protons, electrons, neutrons, whatever fits. So I'd like to bring up Tim to read some of our Life Happens.
All right, thank you, Scott. So you may have seen as you walked in, we had a lovely little box here that says Life Happens. This is a segment that we've borrowed from Sunday Assembly Portland. So sometimes when we come to Sunday Assembly, we don't always get a chance to talk with people in depth, to really find out what's going on with them. So this is a chance for us to share joy in others' joy, sorrow in other people's sorrow, and to connect. So it can be good or bad, anonymous or not anonymous, and here we go. So our first card is from Michelle, who says, after turning 30, I decided I wanted to do something different, so I'm going to learn the violin. The next one is from Christy. She says, I saw Finding Neverland at the Fox, and it had a glitter wind tunnel, which was outrageous. And the whole play is about being young at heart, and if you haven't seen it, it will fill your soul with magic and wonder. Okay, our next one is from Scott. He says, I got a learning design certificate this weekend through a 3-day training course. Excited to put it to use. Is anyone looking for a newly minted instructional designer? So please talk to Scott after the assembly. Okay, our next card is from someone who decided to remain anonymous. They say, I have accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Okay. The next one is from Justin, who says, a coworker got me to sign up for Ancestry.com, and I found lots of interesting things. For example, Elvis Presley was a distant cousin. Our next card is from Jillo, who says, my good friend is working the last Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus show tonight. I can't wait to see his after-party video. Our next card is from Grayson, who says, quitting smoking, life is awesome. Next one is from Laura Ross, who says, a good friend died this week, and our youngest bought a car. Also, our oldest and her partner are here from Australia. Eventful week. Our next card is from Dan, number 1, Dan the first. I have helped Christy finish her apartment with a giant craft space and built-in bookshelf. I am now available for other projects. Please talk to Dan in the back there. Our next card is from Steve Brazil, something like that. Sorry, Steve. My book is doing great, and the print version is out next month. Very excited. Congratulations, Steve. Our next card is from someone who decided to remain anonymous. It says, tomorrow is the 1-year mark since I learned the term atheist applied to me. I cried like I actually lost something when I said, I don't think this Jesus stuff is true anymore. After years of ingredients coming off the God sandwich, the final one came off. It's been a tough year trying to find community with other secular people. I can count on one hand the number of people I've told that I no longer believe in God. I'm excited at the prospect of finding community here. Welcome. The next card is also anonymous. It says, I sometimes feel alone and that no one gets me. I'm sure that that's the same for everyone. Another anonymous card. I am happy when I'm able to help my kids. I only wish I could do more. Our next card is from Hannah. She says, I've been struggling with feeling alone lately, but I am thankful for Sunday Assembly and the community it brings. Cheers to that. Our next card is also anonymous. It says, I am living the dream. Ooh. Okay, Justin says, the 85 bridge is open and my traffic nightmare is over. Christy says, it's my last week of school and I will miss my students so much. We're making blanket forts our last day of school, and I'm looking forward to a few more magical moments with my little whippersnappers. Oh, very sweet. Our next card is from Anonymous, who says, no news is good news. All right. Our next card is from Sonica, who says, I think the next step for my coaching profession is to go to grad school for neurophilosophy or something like that. Smiley face. Go Sonica. Next card is from Leah. It says, at the beginning of May, I went to Spain for 9 days. I love Madrid and miss having tapas for dinner every night since I came home. And our last card is from Anna, who says, after many months of being at a dead end with my weaving, I have decided to continue making plain work and make it more complex with surface design. Very cool. So, thank you everyone for today's live topics.
Thanks, Tim. And Anonymous needs to stop hogging the life happens cards. Okay, can someone, Esther's. All right, now it's time for announcements. We didn't put them up here because there are too many. So if you will pull out your program. Anyone not have a program? Okay, I can't give it to you right now. I'll give it to you. Yeah, look with your neighbor. So we started a new series of meetups called One Life Block. And they're every other Thursday. And they're at a different park every time. So we're just kind of exploring the parks in Atlanta. And this one is led by Spec, who isn't here today. And you'll find out where he is in a few minutes. The next event is Wonder Club. So our Wonder Club is once a month. It's every fourth Friday of the month. And it's usually in the Rush Center, which is down the street from here. And this month it's led by Kevin, who did our meditation today. And it's called Is Democracy Viable? And the Wonder Clubs are basically just a casual forum for us to sit around and discuss some ideas. It's super informal. You can come in knowing absolutely nothing about the topic or philosophy, or you can come in having never wondered. So I don't know how that did you want to say anything else?
No, it should be an interesting discussion. Yeah, please join us. We're going to discuss, democracy's problems and what we might do.
Cool, awesome. And we also have a new series called Talking TED, where we meet at Tony and Jenny's place. Jenny, raise your hand. So Jenny is helping for potluck today, where we watch a TED Talk and then we discuss it. And the next one is going to be about community. And I know Jenny and Tony are both very passionate about designing communities, especially, what was the word?
Tiny house?
I don't want to say like, wait, what?
You're referring to the tiny house movement?
Yeah, the tiny house communities, and also, I don't want to say communities.
Intentional?
Yeah, intentional communities, that's the, yeah. So they're very passionate about that. So if you're interested in that, please go. And then Life Lab is sort of an offshoot initiative of Sunday Assembly where we do workshops and classes and help each other live better. And so the next Life Lab is called Crafters Grow. And Marla, who also isn't here, you will find out where she is in a second, and I are leading that class, and we're going to be talking about designing your environment and whatever activity you're doing to create the conditions for flow. And the Life Labs are every Saturday, second Saturday of the month, also at Rush Center. And okay, so then we have our recurring events in the little box there. So our assemblies, which is this, is every third Sunday of the month. And then we have the 2 mindfulness meditations that Kevin mentioned. And then secular support group is every other Tuesday evening at Lori's place. Yay! And Lori makes really good food. And Maker's Night Out is every third Friday, and it's just bring a craft. And it's also at Lori's place, usually. But if someone else wants to host it, totally welcome. And then we have our organizer meeting, which is every second Sunday. So it's always the Sunday before this assembly, the Assembly Sunday. And everyone is welcome to the organizer meeting. We meet at a restaurant and we just chat about the upcoming assembly, what needs to be done, and also ideas for assemblies and other events that you might want to do. Yes?
So is there any case to make Sunday Assembly great, even greater event?
Let's see. Wonder Club every 4th Friday. Queer Beyond Belief is every first Saturday. It's like a cafe, and it's led by Spec, and it's for LGBTQ people. And if you're not LGBTQ, you are also welcome. And then the thing on the right, the little green square thing, is you can scan that with your phone, and it adds all these events to your calendar. You can pick which ones you want to add to your calendar. And if you have trouble using that, please ask Ross, who has disappeared on this. Oh, there he is. Yeah, Ross knows how to work that. Cool. And to subscribe to all these things, join our meetup group. It's meetup.com/Sunday-assembly. We got the Sunday-assembly address on meetup.com, but none of the other Sunday assemblies across the world have it, so go us. And then we also have a Facebook group, facebook.com/Sunday-assembly, and that's private, and you can post up and keep up with everyone. And I think oh yes, and the next assembly is about backup plans. That's all I'm going to say. And it's, again, the third Sunday of the month, so it'll be the third Sunday of June, here at 6 o'clock. Great. Yes. So Lori is going to announce a Help Often event.
I've been organizing Help Offense, but I had a period with 2 jobs and too many work hours and wasn't able to do them consistently. Now I have 1 job, but I'm working every weekend. So I cannot host the Compassion Bag assembly at my home because I'm working every Saturday and Sunday, except for this one because I'm here. I cannot lead Help Often at another site. At the last minute this week, I saw that there is an opportunity for a volunteer event for those of you who are interested. The Indicator from 9 to 12, the 27th of May, and it's pulling invasives with Trees Atlanta, Glen Lake Park in Decatur, where they're rehabbing an ecosystem there. They've already planted shrubs and trees that are native. They're just trying to allow them to thrive by pulling invasive plants that don't belong. If there's enough of an interest, I will set it up on Facebook and Meetup, but we need a Sunday Assembly person to be willing to attend and make sure that assemblers are welcome, that have found each other, that you're working together as a team, and if you choose to go out afterwards for a meal or an informal gathering, you can do that. Is there enough people interested that I should set that up, or is it too short term?
Do you want to lead it, Gracie?
A whopping 2. You want to lead it, so should I do it and we'll give it a shot? Thank you. Okay, look for that on Nina or Facebook.
Thank you, Sonica and Lori. Now, I know the question is on everyone's mind. Where is Spec? Where are Spec, Andy, and Marla? Right? That's what we're all wondering. That's why I showed up today. So let's find out. And Ross is going to tell us about what we just watched for those of you who are deers in headlights.
Yeah, allow me to translate that. Audio quality was not supreme, but they are in San Diego. They are at the Sunday Assembly International Conference, also called a conference called Wonder. It happens every year. And in 2015, it was held here. And that's how I got more involved. So you can see that Andy, Marla, and Spec, who if you've been to Sunday Assembly Atlanta before, they're always running around helping put on assemblies, run their events throughout the month. The two people in the middle there are Sanderson Jones and Pippa Evans, and they are the people who started Sunday Assembly. Just flat out. They are the two comedians who, on a car ride somewhere in England, decided like this would be an interesting thing. What if we made like a church style thing, but without like the thing that everybody thinks you need to have. And here we are today. So I'm looking very much forward to hearing how much fun they had, judging by the smiles. I'm guessing it went well. And we'll have them back soon. So, what is up next? I think it's time for the band. What? Yes, it is our last song. So if we get the band to come up on here. This is an energetic song. This is a good one. So once we get it set up here, you're definitely encouraged to sing along, stand, clap along. It'll be good. And there are more guitar solos where that came from. You can lose your pick. I feel like that after every song you can lose your pick, is that right? You actually don't have one, we need one. You're gonna survive? Well, we're gonna do this song first. Yeah, I think we can do that one. Okay, good. Awesome. Use those tambourines.
Head out on the highway.
is potluck time. So whether you brought something or not, you are welcome to have some food. We got a couple more songs as we move tables. We can move the chairs away and get some tables in. That'll be great. We'll be your entertainment. Thank you so much for coming. Good job. one more key. It's a little more chill.
'cause I'm as free.
I mean, that's half the skill, and then half the most powerful moment in musical.
What?